Welcome to Your Powerful Legacy TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Kristina Ping. She is CEO of Powerful Legacy Insurance and Financial Services. To our viewers at home, we can't thank you enough for being with us today. We're going to continue on the financial wellness series and talk about some things in your retirement plan that could come up. Now, some of these are seen, some of these are unseen, and some of these are actually completely unknown. So today's show is just for you. If you're thinking about retirement, you want to be prepared and be ready for all of these categories together. Kristina, how are you today?
Great to be here with you always, my dear bestest soul sister. This
I
is
know.
so fun. We just have the best time all the time.
We do, because we're just talking and laughing and delivering, of course, information the viewers need to see. But honestly, my best friend on the planet, I'm so happy and blessed to be with you. So thank you so much for being here.
It's great. And this financial wellness series has been so successful. We have so many people that are telling us that they love it.
Yes.
And they can't wait to see what we have next. So let's enjoy it.
Yes, let's definitely enjoy it, because planning for retirement, it takes a professional in your corner to make sure that you are ready. And Kristina, you are such a passionate and compassionate person when you're helping your clients plan. Let's talk about the seen things that we know about when we're talking about retirement. Taxes, you are also so savvy and so well-versed when it comes to tax planning. Talk about taxes being one of those things that are seen, if you will.
Folks, let's just face it. Retirement is all about income, and it's only after-tax income. You cannot count on money to be spent that you need if you don't have the taxes accounted for. So sitting down, having a conversation about taxes, I know it may sound like that's not exciting. I love it. I want to talk about this. I want to make sure that we get this right on the table in the beginning, because if we don't have this as part of your plan, it's seen. We know it's coming. If we don't have it as part of your plan, you don't have a true plan.
Makes perfect sense. And I love that, because you love solving the puzzle. You like putting the pieces together. And taxes, that's a huge piece.
It is a huge piece. I think it's actually the biggest piece.
Yes.
Because if you don't get that right, then nothing's going to be okay.
It's true.
And, you know, when I think back through our lifetime, did you ever have a time, Cynthia, that there was just an open education session on taxes and how they really work in your life?
Not until I met you.
No.
I mean, seriously.
And I feel really sad for people sometimes, because they think, oh, I'm going to be okay. I'm just going to start taking money out of my 401k, and that's just the way it's going to run. But folks, that's not the way that works.
Yeah.
You have to have a tax strategy. What is the best way to harvest those tax losses? What about converting from traditional IRA to Roth IRA? What about some tax-free accumulation for the future? We have so many different ways that we can be tax savvy. So let's talk about those.
Most definitely. And let's talk a little bit about powerfultaxbill.com, if we could, because we're on taxes right now so heavily. Talk a little bit about that really cool quiz that you have. What does that feel like when someone clicks that QR code that just came up on the screen?
So folks, be really careful that you understand. This QR code here is not going to be like a Medicare code. You're not going to get a gazillion. That's a big number, gazillion.
It is.
You're not going to get a gazillion calls from all these different people. We have this quiz. We own this quiz and the link. This is something that we would love to give to you as a resource to be able to know what the possibility is for your tax bill. If you don't know what it could be, how do you know how to even start dealing with this? And powerfultaxbill.com is so easy to use. Takes maybe 2 minutes to fill everything out. If you don't know the answer, it actually gives you some defaults. And click go. Give it a few minutes. It's going to generate a report and email that over to you. Take a look at that report. It's quite detailed, usually about 3 to 5 pages, and it will show you exactly what you need to do.
And it's so simple. I love the information that you put in. You get to play around with different scenarios, and what you receive in email can be life-changing. It can be shocking, and so people need that guidance. One of the other things that are seen, and I know we can all relate to this because we're watching TV, we see the news, we know that inflation is talked about quite heavily, and even though they're saying the numbers are coming down, well, are we really seeing that at the grocery store? So inflation, Kristina, this is something that's seen. How do we plan for it?
If we're having a conversation about inflation and you're talking about just what's on the news, that's not going to be accurate. I know we've seen these numbers somewhere around 8, 9, 10%. That's not what it is. Especially here in the Kentuckiana, Ohio, and Tennessee Valley, folks, we're seeing inflation in the average household somewhere around 25 to 30%. And let me break that down. We all know that we have had the most horrific storms over the last few years. Our homeowners and auto insurance has just catapulted. We did have a band rate of around 30% across the board. And then our food, our taxes have gone up significantly, especially on our property because home values have increased, which also makes the home insurance go up even more. So when you think about what is not included in that overall inflation calculation, which are taxes, insurance, food, and fuel, when you add those in, inflation is actually significantly higher than what they're stating.
Wow. And you have to be prepared for that. You help factor that into someone's overall retirement
Yes.
plan. Something else that's so important that we should talk about, obviously the stock market, Christina, has been doing so well, but that can change. It's doing well until it's not. So talk about market volatility. We can see that. We can kind of project what that would look like. How do you help that with your clients in the plan?
I want to get to you little owls out there that are saying, who is going to win today? Well, if you're looking at the market and you see that the market is up in the morning, then all of a sudden in the afternoon, you're like, whoa, what happened today? That volatility in just one day is just a snapshot of what it could be over your retirement. The average retirement is lasting somewhere around that 25-year mark. Folks, I think we're going to have a correction of some sort. I think it's natural to expect that because it has happened historically at least once every 20 to 25 years. So let's sit down and have a conversation about your risk tolerance. How much risk can you tolerate within your portfolio to make sure that you don't run out of income on the back end?
Yeah, so important. And I love this next one, lifestyle inflation, misjudge expenses. Are you talking about Amazon right there? I was going to throw it out there.
That's exactly what we're talking about. Well, and I think a lot of people do misjudge just because you think your lifestyle is going to be one way or another. And I see people who think, oh, I'm going to spend significantly less in retirement because my expenses are less. Well, while I do see that happen sometimes, especially if you choose to eat at home instead of eating out your lunch or dinner and you're doing more cooking at home, sometimes the utilities increase because you are home more.
That's true.
And, things just start to happen, like your water bill goes up because maybe you're washing more things that you weren't washing.
Yes.
I've just seen the craziest things that have happened. And overall inflation and the misjudgment, folks, maybe you go and spend more time with family that you were not doing before. So that's a little bit more in travel. Maybe you do travel more because you didn't have the time before. And that's a very normal thing. We actually project that you're going to spend more in the first 12 to 24 months of retirement than what you're expecting. So we calculate that in right out of the gate.
That's incredible. So you're thinking about travels, hobbies, maybe possibly relocation if someone wants to move to a
Yes.
different climate, or maybe even having a second home, all of these things.
All of these things. And sometimes it's very unrealistic. I mean, I've had folks that have retired with a couple $100,000 that think, oh, I'm going to go get a second home in a warmer place. That's not realistic, especially when you still have a mortgage on your primary home.
Yes.
And just, you have these dreams of retirement, but how are they realistically affordable? What is your lifestyle and what is it going to take? When you sit down and talk about what are those needs, your lifestyle needs are not what we're talking about. We're talking about your basic needs. So then when we have those misjudgments on the lifestyle, it's because perhaps you're overspending. And how do you know what's going to happen? Well, you need to take a look back to be able to look forward.
Most definitely. Christina, thank you so much. To the viewers at home, there's a number for you to call on your screen, 877-893-5099, 877-893-5099. What you're being offered today is a complimentary consultation with Christina. Let her get to know you one-on-one, your goals, your dreams, your hopes, and your plans for retirement. Do you have a plan to make sure that all of those dreams can come true? We talked about some seen things that happen in your retirement. When we come back, we're going to talk about the unseen. You need to be prepared for all of these things. And how can you do that? Have the plans crafted just for you, 877-893-5099, or click the QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. That's the landing page, actually, for Christina's website, Powerful Legacy, and you can schedule your time accordingly. This call that you make today could change your life. If you're thinking about retirement, you need to have all of these bases covered. Once again, 877-893-5099. We'll be right back with so much more on Your Powerful Legacy TV with Kristina Ping. Stay tuned.
Property and casualty insurance is how I really got started. I was supposed to go to law school and be an attorney, and I'm so glad I did not take that road. But when I think about what is it that really led me to honing in on this craft of retirement planning, my grandparents had a major loss back in 2008. I watched what happened with the market and how it affected their retirement plan, and they were not able to retire how and when they wanted to. It automatically just pushed me in a natural direction of trying to protect people in a whole other way. It's been something that I've been working on for several years. Anyone who is starting their own business has to be about halfway crazy because it is such a huge risk. You risk everything. And I went from having steady W-2 pay and benefits to now everything is on my shoulders and my sons pay because they were both with me opening the business and licensed agents as well. But having my boys alongside with me, that is the most amazing because our relationship is just tighter than ever. And I knew I wanted legacy to be inside of my business name because I want to leave that ultimate legacy.
Welcome back to Your Powerful Legacy TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Kristina Ping. She is CEO of Powerful Legacy Insurance and Financial Services. We're talking all about the importance of you having a retirement plan, a holistic written retirement plan so that you can navigate your retirement years with ease and, most importantly, peace of mind. Kristina is willing to do that for you today. All you have to do is call in. Kristina, before we jump into segment 2, I would love to talk to you about your book, The Retirement Train. Talk to the viewers at home in case they're just hearing about this beautiful book for the first time.
This is such a fun book, folks, and I know that sometimes we're hesitant to jump into reading something, especially if it's about finances. It might be a little boring or maybe even a difficult way to understand finances. This is such an easy book to read. It's very friendly and it's going to be fun for you. And each chapter is a decade in life. Folks, we do have something a little different at this moment on the show. If you call in and you would just like a copy of the book, maybe you don't need anything else from us, you just want to have a copy of the book, let us know. We will need your address. We're going to mail it to you. You don't have to come by. Just grab this book, come on by, see us, whichever way you want to come and get it, and we will mail it to you or come in and grab it.
And your office now is so beautiful and brand new. Talk about that location.
Oh, yes. Both of the offices are beautiful. Louisville's gorgeous, and it's all about the black and the horses and the wood, and it's very, masculine, elegant. It's just gorgeous. But the Lexington office is wow.
It's a wow.
Yes, I am so very blessed and humbled to be able to have a place like this. I mean, I never thought that we would have an office that looks this way. And one of my favorite things about the new Lexington office is that we named the conference rooms after stones because having solid service and solid investments and solid decisions, that's what we're all about. So we have the emerald room, the sapphire room, the amethyst room, and the ivory room.
So beautiful.
They're gorgeous.
It's so you. I just love it.
Yes, and as bold as it is, people are like, whoa, this is a different space, and very surprised when they walk in and see it, but also it's very comfortable and easy to be in that space, and that's what I want. I want someone who walks through the door to always feel comfortable, loved, feel kindness, and of course they're there for us to be helpful.
They will feel like they're coming home. That's the best way to describe it, like coming home.
Yes.
So Kristina, some of the unforeseen things, and we talked a little bit about inflation, but let's talk about how that can be unforeseen. If someone is not expecting things to change or jump up higher, what if they don't have a plan for that? What happens?
Well, that 50-year average is going to be around 3%, folks, and we can see that we're going to have inflation, but the unforeseen is when it just doesn't go through the averages. Now, let's take a look backward. We did have those huge cost of living adjustments on Social Security to try and hedge against inflation. They were nowhere near able to keep up, and they still have not. What do you do when inflation is so much more? Like we were just discussing in the first segment here, we're seeing 25, 30% inflation in the household, not 9 or 10%. And how do you hedge against that? I don't want you to have to make choices between taking your medications every day like you need to and staying comfortable, warm in the winter and cool in the summer. We don't want to have to make those choices. So sitting down, having a good, solid conversation about the unforeseen parts of inflation, that's important.
Most definitely. And Kristina, we talked about market volatility, of course, but what about the sequence of return risk that people can fall into? That can sometimes be unforeseen. Talk a little bit about that, please.
It can be. Folks, market volatility, the sequence of returns, I'm not going to bore you with a bunch of charts and graphs. I've seen this before on TV, and I will tell you, when you sit down with a professional and you talk about the market volatility and the way the sequence of returns can technically affect your overall portfolio, what if you lose too much on the front end and then you're not able to recover? What if you have a nice growth and then you lose some on the back end? And what does that look like? And how does it fit into your portfolio and your overall needs? Having money set aside in this sequence of returns that you know is going to be safe and you're going to have those needs taken care of, that's a huge piece of the retirement puzzle that a lot of people don't want to talk about. I'm finding folks come in and they'll say, I have this awesome retirement plan, but I just want a second look. And that's okay. We're happy to give you a second look. But they come in and they just have a statement from a firm that's just managing the money. No tax plan, nothing to do with their market volatility or their risk tolerance, nothing to do with taxes at all. And then, of course, no legacy or estate plan. So unless you have all those things together, that's not even a plan. They're just managing the money in the market, making a big fat fee. So you have to go back and ask that question, why am I all in one place? And what can we do to make it better? And if there's not a good solid answer, that's your answer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so well said. Thank you, Kristina. This next one, longevity risk. It's a blessing to be living longer, but talk a little bit about that. Why is that also, I don't know, I don't want to say a curse because it is a blessing, but talk about longevity risk.
So right this moment, you know, a child that is born in this era right this moment is expected to live around 103 years old. 103.
Wow.
That is crazy.
Considering it was not, that was like, what, 30 was like an older age way back in time.
Yeah, a couple hundred years ago.
Right? Now we're 103. That's incredible.
That is incredible. And it's always going to be a risk when we think about a longer retirement. So longevity risk could be very real. And ladies, right this moment, if you're 65 or so, you have a 1 in 7 chance of living to age 95, a 30-year retirement. That could create that longevity risk, which could create the risk of running out of money. We want you to have a happy, long life, but what if you live too long and the money runs out? A lot of people are not planning on living up into their 80s and 90s.
Absolutely, and they need to be, obviously.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about health care and long-term care. Now, this kind of ties into longevity risk. What if you're not planning for the rising healthcare costs and most definitely long-term care? Kristina, please talk a little bit about that.
I can give you some boring statistics, you know, this little blah, blah. The average couple in retirement is going to spend around $315,000 in healthcare costs in their retirement, but that doesn't include long-term care. Okay, there's your stats on that end. Folks, I'm going to give you the real deal. This is the number one thing that I see completely derails retirement plans. Number one, all of a sudden here comes along a massive stroke or a heart attack or a really bad fall or a break of something, and then all of a sudden your health just goes to pots, and what do? The healthcare costs rise like I've never seen. And taking care of your health is your wealth. We say this all the time in this financial wellness series.
Definitely.
Your health is your wealth. So what happens if this goes awry? How do you protect your assets? That's where the legacy planning comes along and the asset protection and asset management, all of this together, the taxation of all of this. Because what if you need to take a little bit more to be able to take care of your health? That could end up being devastating for your spouse if you're married. Most
definitely. And something else that's unforeseen that we need to talk about would be divorce or legal issues. Talk a little bit about that, how a settlement can significantly reduce your assets. Happens to a lot of people, especially unexpected. It's unforeseen.
Yes, we do have a word for that. We call it gray divorce.
Yes.
So that's divorce when your hair is gray. And for those of you that have been watching the show for a while, you know that I had gone through a gray divorce. And it is devastating, especially the blindsiding of that. It's just so very difficult. And when you think about losing money in a settlement or, you know, someone taking what you have earned and, you know, you definitely want to be generous and you want to be very classy and graceful about things, but it can cause devastation, especially the older that you get, to that overall retirement plan, because supporting one household is one thing. But supporting two is very difficult when you don't have that time and you're not working anymore. So having a divorce later on, that just wasn't the norm. Back in the 60s, 70s, and even the 80s, divorce wasn't a thing because women didn't have access to money, didn't have access to rights. I mean,
it's true.
It's been such a huge progression for ladies. And so now that we have that voice and there can be divorce or, you know, whatever the situation may be, maybe you just don't like each other anymore because you've been working all these years and you didn't really see each other a whole lot. And now that you're retired, boom, don't like you anymore.
And that happened during COVID too.
It did happen during COVID.
To live together like, whoa, I don't even know who you are anymore. So
They called it the
Absolutely.
C-vorce instead of the divorce.
Right. That is true. That is true.
That was crazy. So what does that look like for your overall retirement assets? What if you lost half? Let's just say that that's gone. That is devastating to most retirement plans. And how do we make that last? You have to make lifestyle adjustments.
Yep, and you need a plan. To the viewers at home, we can't stress this enough. You need a plan for your retirement. We talked about some seen things that can go wrong, the unforeseen. When we come back, we're going to talk about the completely unknown. All of these things are factored in to make sure that when you have something come your way with a solid, written, holistic retirement plan, you'll be ready for those. You won't be derailed. You won't go off track, just like the retirement train. And by the way, since I mentioned that, don't forget, you get a copy of Kristina's book absolutely complimentary by calling in today to 877-893-5099. You'll just give your name and address, and Kristina will be more than happy to mail you a copy, or better still, stop by one of her locations. Let her get to know you one-on-one, your goals, your dreams, and your hopes for retirement. If you're rushing out the door, grab your smartphone, click on the QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. That's the fast track to get on Kristina's schedule. Once again, we're going to take a very short commercial break here on Your Powerful Legacy TV. When we come back, we're going to talk about the complete unknown. Stay tuned.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter. The one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Are you on track for retirement? Do you know even how to get to the station? Whether you're working right now and contributing, starting to be a little bit more conservative, or whether you're retired and you just need a second opinion, come get a copy of The Retirement Train. This is a great way to get that information you're looking for to give you the peace of mind that you deserve. It is complimentary. Call us today.
Welcome back to Your Powerful Legacy TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Kristina Ping. She is CEO of Powerful Legacy Insurance and Financial Services, and we're talking all about the importance of you having a written, holistic retirement plan, planning for things that are seen, unseen, and now we're going to talk about the completely unknown things that could happen that you need to be prepared for. Kristina, I love today's show because it's so important to talk about all of these things. This next topic, the completely unknown, this is something I think we can all relate to, unexpected family obligations. And I'm relating that to people that have experienced adult children moving back home, perhaps with children of their own, and all of a sudden you have a multi-generational household. Talk about how you have to be prepared for that. One aspect.
Yes, and that can also go on the opposite side where maybe you still have parents living and they're elderly, and you have to retire early to be able to care for the parents.
Absolutely.
When I say family obligations, I don't mean to say obligation like it's a negative thing, because I know we love our families so much.
Yes.
And we would do anything to help them. But if it's going to be something that could completely crash your retirement plan, you've got to make those adjustments to have both. And sometimes that means changing your lifestyle or downsizing your home, sometimes moving somewhere else to be able to afford that. And when we had that conversation about, families or, your children, your parents, your grandchildren, all those, I'm seeing people raising their grandkids more than ever.
Most definitely. It happens all the time.
This is crazy. And how in the world do you plan an extra $300,000 from age 0 to 18 to raise the average child these days?
Yeah.
In retirement on top of everything else?
Yes.
A lot of times people are having to go back to work, or at least one spouse.
Yes. That happened to a friend of mine whose daughter had actually two had to move in. So daughter and granddaughter, and she was retired and she was just living life. Her whole lifestyle changed. She wasn't prepared for that. But like you said, you unconditionally love your children. She found a way to make it work, but you've got to be able to shift and pivot. It's so important to have a plan just in case that happens. Christina, this is a very important one, and I know a lot of people are experiencing this younger and younger today, which is kind of scary, but cognitive decline.
Yes, this is devastating. And the first thing that is the most difficult is the admission of it. And the cognitive decline and what it does to your finances can be very devastating because it opens up a door to something that we don't talk a whole lot about, which is fraud. I'm seeing folks that are maybe a little bit elderly starting to have that cognitive decline, don't really understand or don't know what's going on, and even their own family members are taking advantage.
Wow.
This is completely unknown if this is going to happen. You just don't see it coming. Sometimes it's a little bit of a sign here and there, but it normally will come on so quickly that it's just devastating.
Yes, yes. And you have to plan for it. It's so devastating emotionally, as you mentioned, but to be financially prepared just in case is so important.
Well, which is better, right? Losing your mind or losing your physical health?
They're both awful.
They're both terrible. I mean,
Yes.
I think I would rather lose my physical health than keep my mind just so I would
Yes,
have a sound
'cause
mind.
I can't even imagine if I couldn't recognize my daughter, my son-in-law. I mean, I don't even
no.
want to go there.
It has nothing to do with me. It has to do with them. I would be
Yes.
so devastated if my little grandkid was to come up to me and I didn't know who it was.
That's
Oh
what
my
I mean.
gosh, that
Anyway,
kills
let's
me.
move on because I don't want to
Yes.
cry.
That's so sad.
Enough of this. Okay, legislative risk and policy changes. This can happen, we know, obviously, with taxes, with Social Security. Talk about
Yes.
legislative risk, Christina.
We're not going to get political here because I think that all of these politicians are just butt faces. I mean, they're doing everything they can to just scare us. And it seems
Yeah.
like every time that they're talking about something concerning a budget, that Social Security gets thrown in there. That's going to be like a zombie apocalypse if that is cut.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's already terrible cutting things where people have not contributed, let alone if they cut something that is contributed to.
yes.
That would be devastating. I just don't see that coming along. Something's got to be done to fix this. I do want to tell you that with the legislative risk, that's because we do have some things that are put in that are supposed to be what we call permanent. We've heard this, the ABBA put in these permanent tax cuts. Well, they're only permanent until they're not.
That's true.
You've got to watch for this. And that's the complete unknown. Is this going to be something that will continue because it is truly great? Or is it going to be something that's going to be cut immediately because it's a party situation? We don't know.
Yes, and you have to be prepared for it. And again, it all comes down, Christina, to having a proper plan and
Yes.
most importantly, a copy of the retirement train. We should give the viewers a chance to grab a book. What do you think?
Yes, folks, if you would like a complimentary copy of the book, The Retirement Train, give us a call. That number on the screen, 877-893-5099. Just give your name and address. We'll get that taken care of. Also, jump online and do the retirement quiz. This is the powerfulquiz.com. This is awesome, powerfulretirementquiz.com. It's going to give you a snapshot into what your retirement could look like, and are you ready?
Are you ready? Powerful Retirement Quiz, the best way to find out if you're ready. 877-893-5099. Be safe, be happy, and be blessed. See you back 1 week from today.